Alright, in the following diagram, circle C lies in the coordinate plane with its center at -5, 1 and a radius of 4 units. Elisa writes paragraph proof to determine whether the point J, -3, 1 plus 2 square roots of 3 lies on circle C, but she is missing some information. Read her proof carefully and then follow the instructions. It is given that circle C lies on the coordinate plane with its center at -5, 1 and the radius of 4 units. If point J lies on the circle, then the distance from the center C to the point J must equal the length of blank 1. So it has to equal the radius, which would be 4 units, because a circle, that's not what I wanted. A circle has to have, that's the definition of a circle, is the collection of points that are the same distance away from the center. And so it has to have the same length of the radius, which would be 4 units. So it has to equal the length of 4, which is our radius. The distance from center C to point J is given by the equation blank 2. Okay, so remember that the distance formula is the distance is equal to the square root of our x coordinates, so x sub 2 minus x sub 1, and those are in parentheses actually being squared. Plus the same thing for our y coordinates, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 being squared. So that is our distance formula. So now I'm going to blow that up, and I'm just going to pick, it gives us the, so now we just have to label which one's going to be our first point, which one's going to be our second point. Since it says from the center C to point J, I'm going to lead just with a context clue that it says from center. So I'm going to say C is our x1 and y1, and J is our x2, y2. So I'm going to be looking for an equation. X2 is -3. So I'm going to be looking for -3 minus x1 is a -5. So that's actually going to be minus a -5. And then y2 is 2 square roots of 3. So I'd look for 2 square roots of 3. Minus y1 is 1. So I'm going to scan for that. So CJ or JC would equal, I'm first just scanning for -3, and I'm not saying that everything that I'm seeing, I notice the -5 is first, which is actually point C being the second one. So these would be switched. So we would have -5 minus -3. I'm just switching these labels as x, instead of this one being x1, y1, this would be x2, y2, and I'm just picking that up because I scanned it from the, and saw that -5 was listed first. So then that would mean that we would be switching the order of these. So this would be 1 minus 2 square roots of 3. 2 square roots of 3 is just a number. It's represented in exact form because the decimal goes on forever. So instead of rounding the decimal and throwing off the proof that way, they kept it in exact form. So remember, subtracting a negative simplifies to addition, so then I'm going to be looking for -5 plus 3 squared. So we would have it -5 plus 3 being squared, plus 1 minus 2 square roots of 3 being squared. There it is. To evaluate, simplify the numbers within the parentheses first to result in the equation blank. So simplify these numbers within the parentheses. I am interested to see if they keep it in an exact form or if they round it. So I'm going to scan and see really fast, because -5 plus 3 is going to be -2. And then I want to see if they keep it simplified. So -2 squared So evaluate, simplify the numbers within the parentheses first. Alright, so within the parentheses, did I miss a, oh, I'm missing this 1 right there. So this would be actually 1 minus 1 plus. Okay, so how we would simplify this is we would just treat them like numbers. 1 minus 1 is 0. 0 plus 2 square roots of 3 is 2 square roots of 3. So that's what simplified form would look like. It would look like -2 plus, there would be a negative sign there. The reason being is because this would be in parentheses, because this is one whole number. So this would actually be 1 minus 1 minus 2 square roots of 3 after the distribution law. So 1 minus 1 is 0. Then we're left with minus 2 square roots of 3. So then, after simplifying the exponents, the result is blank. So then they want to know what -2 squared is and what -2 square roots of 3 squared is. So I'm going to jump over here. -2 squared is 4. So I'm just going to simplify -2 square roots of 3 being squared. And this gives us 12. So I'm going to be looking for 4 plus 12. So that. And then blank 5. Finally, add the numbers inside the radical and calculate the square root. Okay, so 4 plus 12 is 16. The square root of 16 is 4. So that equals 4. So I'm looking for CJ is equal to 4, but I do not see it again. Okay, we can only select this once. So I'm wondering if, okay, so then we have blank 1 has to equal the length of the radius. I'm going to say that. And then blank 5, I'm selecting 4. They do include CJ equals, so that's why I switched those and just selected 4. So this length shows that the point J blank lie on circle C. So since it is the length of the radius, it does lie on the circle. So that is how I would go through and answer this question.